1, 2, 3, 0. 1, 2, Leo, bitch. We're in the flames.
In the
We are
flames.
in the flames. You feel that? It's my ass cheeks on fire. I had to bring up the cheeks. And speaking of Taylor Swift, too, while we're at it.
And Alex Nightingale.
And Alex Nightingale. Well, okay. Shouts out to, so I can hit them all. Shouts out to Taylor Swift. She's a Sagittarius. She's thriving. It's a fire season. She's on Eras. Her and Haim performed No Body, No Crime. Shocked to Saul.
Fun.
It was a fun little time.
Dating her Aries boyfriend.
Are they? I don't. So the rumor
are they not together? Did the petitions work?
The rumor is the petitions got to her.
Stop.
No, yeah, but then I've also kind of recently heard that was a rumor on purpose by her team.
Oh my god!
There were like blind items on Twitter talking about that was a rumor. It's all very.
What does Maddie get out of that?
Nothing. Well, he gets to date Taylor Swift if he really feels for her
in a fake way.
Apparently does. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I'll hit Taylor Swift. Speaking of Alex Nightingale, and my apologies to Alex Nightingale, my apologies to the listeners, my apologies to you, Heather, and my apologies to not only Whitney Houston, but Tina Turner, because on last week's episode of the podcast, I realized we were discussing Whitney Houston, and we were discussing her chart. We were discussing just Whitney Houston, and I realized I mixed up her death with Tina Turner's, who was very recent, and she died in Switzerland. Whitney Houston died like 12 years ago.
Yeah, you were saying Whitney Houston died in Switzerland. Oh, that's funny. I mean,
I was just like, what? Both icons, but Alex Nightingale texted me. I didn't even realize I did this until Alex Nightingale texted me after listening to the podcast episode, and she was like, I love you so much. You fucked up Whitney Houston's death. So my apologies to the listeners, to Whitney Houston, to Tina Turner. God rest both their souls. I don't know why I did that. It was so funny. Because I knew Whitney Houston died, because that movie just came out too.
Right.
I just don't know why Tina Turner was on the brain.
I live under a rock. But Alex Nightingale, we really should pay her to be our producer.
You know who she is? For all the murderinos, Alex Nightingale has, this hit me the other day, she's become our Steven. Because for context, Steven is like their assistant, but then he's like, in the earlier episodes, he's off to the side, like correcting when they like if she were here in the booth while we're recording or whatever, like she would have been able to be like, sweets.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Tina Turner. You're messing up.
I'm going to manifest that next year we're all going to be like in a studio together with Alex, and Alex is going to be producing, and it's going to be.
Yes.
Even if we're not living in the same city, like, I don't know.
She could do it remotely.
I see a moment.
Yeah. Damn, Heather. That got my.
Because we're gonna have funding. Again. We're gonna have
infinite abundance in all the ways, but including financial.
Yes, including financial.
We're gonna be infinitely financially abundant these years to come. But yeah, so thank you, Alex, for that correction. My apologies again. Corrections corner. Sometimes you smoke a little bowl before this, or you drink a little wine. No, I'm just kidding. I have ADHD.
Oh my god, and I'm crying because my SPF 50 moisturizer got in my eye as I was tearing up from you talking about that.
Well, shouts out to
the sun. Shouts out to Alex Nightingale.
Yeah.
To Leo
but
season.
Yes, it is a Leo season, because I'm so like, whoops, roll with the punches with that. What would a fire sign do? What would a Leo do? They'd laugh at themselves.
They'd let themselves be messy, and then authentically apologize later.
God, we could all just tap into fire a little more, including myself.
I feel more myself during Leo season. This has
Talk on
been
that, Heather.
a splendid time. I've had many opportunities to go out and dance, many opportunities to like hang out with new people, to wear some flashy clothing. I also noticed, I think I said this already though, but like everybody around me at work and stuff is wearing like flashier clothes. I'm like, people are feeling the Leo.
Yeah. We talked about this too. And I saw Barbie over the weekend, and I don't know if this was a thing in LA or if it's something that you noticed.
Everyone dressed up.
Everyone. It was incredible.
It was way more than I expected. Like people in wigs and leotards and fucking dressed to the nines. Yes. Everyone, like everyone.
Literal Barbies. Yeah, it was so fun, and I was like, "What? It's such Leo energy." Especially like the what am I trying to say? The kickoff into Leo being the biggest like
I'm
Barbie,
almost like, did they plan it? Like
they must have, right? I bet Greta Gerwig's an astrological bitch. I don't know if she has any control over that when like the movie can be released, but yeah, but it was so fun. And it was just reminding me exactly what we talked about last episode, Heather. And like you said, yeah, that Leo loves to embrace their authentic, fun, like extra self. And it's such a beautiful time to go all out. I love it. But yeah, that was really fun. The shouts out to Barbie. I loved it.
Shouts out to Barbie. Yeah, no, it was. I was like, holy shit, everyone. We're at theater camp right now in the Galleria Americana. Like, this is insane.
Did you see Barbie, Heather?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did. My only qualm with it.
I'm just kidding.
No, I really enjoyed it. Thoroughly entertained. Jordy and I were like crying at the end, like, oh my God, just being a woman.
And
my only qualm is that Ryan Gosling, I feel like whether it's the face work or I don't know, the all the self tanner, I just felt like he could have been giving like a little bit more face, especially. Maybe it's, it's Leo season. I'm wanting more. He just like in the musical number that he did, I was just like, this maybe could have been Zac Efron. But then again, Zac Efron's face is completely fucked up now. And it just makes me sad to see him on a screen.
What happened to Zac Efron's face?
You have to like Google a current picture of him. I guess it looks like slightly better now than it did a few months ago, but he's saying that he like got in an accident and like tripped or something and fucked up his chin. But most people think that he wanted cosmetic surgery and he got too much filler and it looks like so fucking shitty that he just looks bad. Like too much plastic surgery, very noticeable. And he was so fucking gorgeous before. Like one of the prettiest faces I've ever seen.
That's your moneymaker.
Literally. I don't think he got in an accident. Like I don't know the exact details, but like the facts align more in a way that suggests that he wanted cosmetic surgery. And
interesting.
In the aftermath was like, oh yeah, I got in an accident. I needed this surgery.
Wow. Yeah. I had no idea. That's wild.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. But then I'm also like, I hear your qualm with Barbie and that Ryan he could have tapped into his, what's that? Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse Club self. Which is so fun to even just see him do remotely because he's always like the like little more serious or like if he is comedic relief.
No, it's true. I mean, I liked him overall. It's just
yeah. No, but I hear you, and I think there was an element of like, don't pull focus, Ryan.
True.
Like I do wonder how much of it was like, Ryan, you have to pull back. You're way too hot for this scene, and you're just Ken.
That's a good point. That's
how I like to think of it.
No, that's a really good point.
He's more than enough. I loved it. Anyways, but yeah, just what a like the Leo movie of the summer. What a kickoff to Leo season in general. The outfits, the energy, it was everything. It was just like, it was giving Leo.
It really was. It really was.
And with that, Heather, should we talk about what else is going? Or sorry, you.
Oh
yeah,
I was going to say that. I was going to say what's really interesting. I can't believe we're almost at August. Like, I was listening to my Molly McCord podcast, and she's like, "This episode is about the astrology of August," and I'm like, "August." Ugh. And I'm like, wait, no, August 1st is literally right around the corner. And on August 1st, we have an Aquarius full moon. And then at the end of August, we have a Pisces full moon. Isn't that so cool? So we have Aquarius full moon August 1st, right around the corner. Then a Leo new moon, I want to say like August 18th. And then a Pisces full moon at the very end of August.
Interesting.
It's our month.
I was thinking that the full moons, I don't know why, but I was thinking that whatever sign we were in, whatever sign the sun was in at the time, the full moon would be the opposite.
So we have a Leo new moon coming up.
Okay.
Leo's opposite is Aquarius, but because of the weird cycle we're in, the full moon's happening first. So it's like a mind, like we started out last month with the Capricorn full moon, and then the Cancer new moon came later at the end of Cancer season.
Because Virgo's next. I was thinking, well, duh, and Virgo's in Pisces.
So yes. So we get Pisces, then we'll have the Virgo new moon.
My brain was thinking.
It's like complicated right now.
Oh my god.
Also, another thing I learned is that in the past few years, we've been in this pattern of like no retrogrades in the first half of the year, like quick motion, like all planets full ahead, and then a whole lot of retrogrades at the end of the year. Like by the end of August, we're going to have 7 planets in retrograde.
Oh, wow.
And so the rest of the year is going to be way more like slow down. Venus just went retrograde in Leo and is going to be in Leo till like September.
Interesting.
Which we've been talking about, the summer of love, but like, yeah, Venus spending extra time in Leo is really fun, I think. But it's like Leo is so outward and expressive, but then like Venus retrograding is a little bit like, well, we're going to internalize it. But that like flashy, warm, extra energy is still on the inside, and you're still like figuring out how to achieve that, but like in a more internal way.
Interesting. Yeah, can you talk about, for me and the listeners really quick, Heather, do you mind talking about Venus as a planet and sort of like what it symbolizes, what it means, what it's normally ruled by? Or and then explain in a little more detail how that coincides.
So Venus is one of the 3 personal planets. The personal planets are Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Venus is the feminine principle. It's correlates with all things feminine. Mars is the masculine principle. So Venus is also, it rules 2 different signs. It rules Libra and Taurus, both of which have very feminine, soft qualities about them. Both are very beauty oriented. So Venus is about what we find attractive, what we find beautiful, what we're attracted to, what gives us that feeling of like, I want that. That's going to give me pleasure. And at the same time, how you go about, loving other people or your love language, or how you make yourself attractive to others. It works both ways. For that same reason, Venus is also associated with money and with values. That's the very Taurus part of it. That is like, is whether you really value having savings in your account or whether you really value like spending, money and having nice food, and all of that is Venus. Wow. Yeah. And so Venus retrograding through Leo for a long time, and Leo being such a sign of love, Leo rules the sun and it's how you shine, but it's also like a very romantic sign. I think it's that kind of romance that is like early dating, flirting, kind of fiery. It's not, it is a fixed sign, but it's, it's kind of like associated with the teenager that's like, let's go out and party and make out and yada, yada, yada.
Oh my God.
So Venus.
I'm having a flashback that, sorry, just side
note.
No,
tell me.
As you remind me, Heather, it was like my partner and I had like a summer fling in our younger 20s, and it was, so a lot of it was just like drinking and going out, of course, but it was also during the summer, and we like made it like, but I want to, we had a summer fling, but I want to say like we officially, we were saying I love you in Leo season now that I look back on it. So that's so funny. And we were really, like peak of like, like making it of, we just made it we were just having a crush, and then we made it official, and then we were saying I love you. But like, as I'm having a flashback, I'm like, that was all in Leo season.
Oh, I love
that's
that.
just cute. Sorry. Aww. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, and I think Leo, rightfully gets the reputation for being self-obsessed. I think, like I said, it is the sun. I think that a lot of Leo is, self-awareness, self-obsession, all that is definitely there. But I feel like it's also the sign that's the most like complimentary of other people, or very like, like loves to give compliments, loves to like with a glass of wine in their hand be like, oh my God, you look so pretty. Like that kind of energy. So yeah, so this, and a lot of astrologers are saying that during this Venus retrograde, it's just really good to spread love, to express love, to tell everyone why you like them, why you love them. Just let that spread.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're going to learn something about how we want to be loved from now until September. And also, Leo's very creative, and Venus can be very creative. So there might be some creative inspiration, things that spark you up, new hobbies, all that.
Ooh, I love that. I love that, Heather.
But I also am feeling like, all right, Heather, you got to be a little bit more careful with your money, maybe. I don't know. There's always
because
that.
Leo wants to reward you for your hard-earned savingness.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting about yeah, I think a lot of the fire signs do maybe get a rep for being self-centered, or like that's the blanketed, very vague way of like putting it.
Yeah.
I think it's more that fire sign is all of them are loyal. They're loyal signs.
I think so.
And I just feel like fire really knows how to tap into loving itself and putting itself first for the sake of taking care of itself, and for the sake of being there for itself and being responsible for its actions and yada yada yada. So yeah, I think it's less about like being self-indulged and more about like not only am I going to care about you on a very loyal, real level, I'm going to do that for myself too. Fire's just really good at like, and they're very action oriented. So I feel like they're just good at being like, I'm going to start and do this now. And this just is how it is. And I don't know. It's such I love the sign. It's such a refreshing, fun energy to be in. And we talked about this too a little bit off the podcast, Heather, before we started recording, but it's like, you start in this we just got out of our water season, and it's a lot of like introspection and sitting and sort of thinking, and right before that you're in air too, which is a little more, I want to say, like heady, and a little more kind of getting into the area of water where it's like really looking at it and deciding what needs to like
what feels
like,
right, what needs to go,
be drifted out, and what needs to go to shore, so to speak.
Exactly.
But air is kind of the moment of like organizing that, I think, a little bit. But then it's like we go into fire after water, after we've done all this introspection, we let it burn, baby. We're actions oriented, we're doing, and then we hit earth, which is also like continuing to like to really ground those actions in, continuing to stay rooted with it. And then we come into air and we think about, okay, what's not working and what needs to go and what needs to stay. And then water comes, and that's the action we do take, even though it feels maybe, heavier than, I don't know, it just all folds and blends so nicely. And it's such a beautiful time when you're in the energy of like, and you've been antsy for a specific energy. I feel like I've been very antsy and ready for this fire season. Go on, Heather.
Me too. I like what you said about action oriented, and about I've been thinking about the cycles of the elements a lot lately, and I feel like air and water are both kind of elements of like thinking and deciding. Like air, a lot of air season is like, you have these options that I'm going to think about in a mental way, and like maybe if I pursue this it'll have this result. And I don't know, Gemini and Libra are both about choices. Aquarius can be like that in a lot of ways. And then water is almost always an ending of sorts where you like feel into it and have to like let something go, but you're like taking in new energy at the same time. And then fire and earth feel more like just doing without all of that like decision making or like thinking too much. It's way more, let's try shit out, let's play.
Yeah.
I mean, earth is, you know, grounding it in, but like, yeah, fire more than anything is like, I like that I'm not thinking as much and I'm just like taking risks and putting myself out there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful time. It's an exciting time. Yeah, no, I love it. I love fire season. Shouts out to the fire signs.
Do you have a favorite
in this fire season?
Maybe this is a undiplomatic question to ask on the podcast, but in just like a kind of like superficial, fun, silly way, do you have like a favorite fire sign?
I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite, but I do want to say that when it comes to fire, I think I know Sagittarians as closer relationships and friends in my life. Not that I don't have like obviously like great Aries that I know and great Leos, but I want to say out of all the 3 fire signs, I think Sagittarius is a sign that like continues to show up for me in relationships and friendships and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And you're very mutable and Sagittarius is mutable, so that makes sense. It like feeds your energy.
Yes. And like some of my closest Sag friendships have always just been like, you're down? Cool. And like just being like, yeah, let's do it. Like actions. And I think it always sparks energy. What about you, Heather?
Oh God. I mean, I
hear what you're saying. Favorite's like the wrong word, but I guess I'll ask. Like,
I love all the fire signs. I love Sag.
I really love
Aries.
all the fire. Like no notes.
Yeah. Like, whereas other elements, there's some that I'm like,
I have notes.
That's very not my vibe, just because of the signs that I am. But yeah. I mean, I think because I have Leo and I'm an Aquarius, I like vibe with Leo a lot. That's because I think that I have the most like spiritual and like psychological conversations with them. You would think that Sagittarius does have that, but I find that Leo, I don't know what it is. I think that maybe just being the opposite of Aquarius, I think they tend to have like, I don't know. I tend to have like good conversations with them.
No, I hear you. That makes sense too with your rising, and like why you would like tap in and probably feel like extra connected. Yeah. You would, and I want to say though, now as I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, I don't know if I know as many Sages as I did when I was younger. I think it might be Aries are like the more, now that I'm a little older, I've kind of like my Aries and Sag might be tied. And then again, as you were just saying that would make sense to me because my Pisces-ness is so close to the Aries cusp. But I don't know if I'm just like, I feel like I'm surrounded by Aries. I don't know. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's interesting. It is interesting. It's always just such a like, again, every fire season, it just feels like such a breath of fresh air in a way that it's supposed to. Like, it feels like that's also the energy. That's like what you've kind of been waiting on. It's what you're excited for. I don't know. It just, I always look forward to it every season.
Yeah.
And with that, Heather, before we get too into the sky, should we move on to these? Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm really excited about the charts, obviously.
I know, I'm kind of like, should we just maybe go ahead and jump in? Yeah. Let's jump into these charts. And before we do, folks, thanks for coming back and hanging with us. My co-host, Heather Cunningham, with all the facts. She's the one who explained Venus. Oh, I'm so excited about that femme energy. Everything you said, as always, Heather, nail on the fucking head. Just what an exciting time. And it's me, Miranda Linsky. Okay. Miranda Linsky, your second co-host, your second in command. I'll be talking about Taylor Swift and asking Heather questions about the stars. All right. But yeah, we've got 2 exciting charts, Heather.
Oh my God. I've only been waiting since we started this podcast.
Both of these have been on my list for a long time. So it's so fun that I think Leo's just been an anticipated season.
Oh my God, so much.
So let's not waste any more time, shall we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Heather. These 2 Leos today, huh? These are going to be some fun ones.
You know, Leos aren't afraid to take the spotlight, and it really shows with our list of celebrities. I mean, there are I could do a whole Leo podcast, I feel like.
Yeah, honestly. There's just so many huge stars that are Leos, very similar to like the Sag category of like the divas of the divas. Like,
makes sense.
Leos are just a bunch of huge, you know them. Like, you just really know them.
Yeah. It seems like Leo, Sag, and Scorpio.
Yeah.
Are maybe turning out to be the most ambitious. I mean, Capricorn too, but Capricorn maybe in a more behind the scenes way generally, or it's not as like showy as like Leo, Scorpio, and Sag. So like a lot of fun celebrities tend to be those signs.
Right. No, anyway. Yeah. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Shall we get started with our very first chart of the episode?
Yeah. Yeah, it's also
I'm like, I can also introduce him.
No, I'll do it. I also I think that the most common sign for US presidents is Leo, I want to say.
Shut up. That's so funny.
Alex Nightingale, our producer, can fact check that, but I'm almost positive. It's like a huge majority of presidents have been Leos.
That's really
the coolest of them all being obviously Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Like
husband to Michelle. Yeah, honestly. What a fucking Leo.
Yeah, no, seriously, but like so poised. Okay, first of all, Leo's sun, Gemini moon. I'm looking at our other celebrities chart. Hold on. Okay, Leo's sun, Gemini moon, Aquarius rising, and you know, living with my mother during this election, I got a lot of astrology info about Barack Obama and about all the presidents. But yeah, I think that Barack is obviously, he gives such a like coolness factor that a lot of presidents haven't had, that I think is such a Leo thing. Very like with it, you know, with his music playlists and stuff. Gives a very approachable Leo warm feeling. But the Aquarius rising also with that like composure and like with the rising sign, always very calm. Like you really can't imagine him like going off, even though he's a fire sign. And the Gemini moon, I want to talk about more where it concerns like should I just go into it? So like,
please.
I know that when he was younger, he was born in like Hawaii, right? And I want to say his dad wasn't totally in the picture, or I can't remember that detail, but I know that he like went to school and education was very important to his mother, and his mom didn't feel that he was learning everything he should be learning like in the classroom, and so she would do additional tutoring for him after school and sit down with him and like teach him all this stuff. And the moon rules the mother. And you can really look at where the moon is in your chart and get a sense of your mother's influence on your psychology and everything. And I think it's so cool that his moon is in Gemini, and he had this like upbringing where his mother was teaching him all the additional info he needed. And he says that that's how he really like fell in love with knowledge. And like, if it wasn't for that, he probably would have never wanted to be president. Yeah.
Interesting. The moon rules the mother.
Yes. And you can absolutely look to your chart and see like the sign in the house it's in to understand like how your mother affected you. And
interesting.
Yeah, and how that applies to like how you emotionally nurture yourself now, or how you feel like emotionally fulfilled as an adult. Yeah, so Barack's moon is in the 4th house, which is like the house of the mother and of like hominess and that feeling of home, you know, your literal home, but also feeling at home on the inside. Opposite the midheaven, that is like your career point. But yeah, in Gemini, that is all about learning, knowledge, communication, understanding the facts.
Right.
So I think that really sticks out to me in the chart. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And he gives us such a like another thing I think about like when you were mentioning to Heather that it's like in a way that other presidents haven't been in the past or we've experienced. Like he gives us he's cool in a way because it feels like he has a way about being authentically human while still having one of the most prestigious like roles known to this country, and then also a role that's so notoriously linked to lying and being a bullshitter because being a politician. And he has this like demeanor and way about him that makes you feel like he's the guy next door, or that like
totally
you know, he really exudes also like being a father. Like I find it really interesting how close he was to his like mom and that maternal connection with his moon, and like his love for learning, because it almost does feel like he brings like a father energy in the way that he is almost like maternal, or just even like the way he like speaks to, if you're in his company or his presence, the way he spoke to the country. It always felt very like this is from a place of like giving a fuck and caring about this, and like that's really talent. That's like could be considered, yes, like a talent or a really good act by a politician, but it doesn't feel like he's putting on an act when he does it, if that makes sense. It does feel, and like especially now looking at his chart and digging a little deeper, it does just feel like that's like authentically Barack Obama.
Totally. And I think that Leo in its most mature expression is exactly that. Like this ability to like shine, be a leader, be, I don't know, my best friend growing up who was like the president of her student body was a Leo, and she was always in that like, you know, top of the class position, but in such a humble, like you just liked her. Like I don't know, it's just like they're real, they're human, and they're like aware of their position, and also just very authentically human. I feel that with Barack for sure.
And looking at his chart, it's like, oh, no wonder.
No, literally. Totally. And this chart is also interesting because there's so much. I mean, most of the planets are on the right hemisphere, in the interpersonal relationship houses, which you wouldn't totally expect. I'm pretty sure, like I think Joe Biden's chart is all 10th, 11th, 12th house, which is like what you would expect from a leader of this or someone who wants to be president of the fucking country. I think Hillary Clinton is 10th, 11th, 12th house. But it's cool that Barack is more 6th and 7th house heavy, because those are like the interpersonal houses. It's way more about the one-on-one relationships, seeing yourself through the reflection of another person, partnerships, understanding your audience, but not in a grand public way, and more of a like intimate way, which I think again lends to that like humanity.
Michelle and Brock are such an incredible team too. Like when I read her book,
their partnership,
and when I read her book, just like the respect that she has for him, the way that she looks up to him, the way that he looks up to her is so evident. And I'll never forget when he was like giving his like final speech, or what is it, like his exit address. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but like I don't know. It's sort of like an exit commencement. I don't don't sure. Ask me. But y'all get it. But there's like a moment where like one of the last things like people he wants to thank or talk to or sort of address is Michelle. And even the way he says it, Heather, like I don't want to say I get turned on, but like it gives me, it's like so powerful and precious at the same time. But he just like there's like a beat, and then he's like, Michelle Obama, like, is who he's addressing next. And like the whole room is just like, ugh. Because it is, you could just like feel the like love and the like the genuine certified connection those two share. Like
Aww.
they really make an incredible team. And so to hear that from his chart is like, that's powerful, or that's just really special.
Yeah, yeah.
It.
Oh, I love that too.
And he's such a man. He's such a man's man in the way that he's like, let's have a cigarette, let's go play some basketball. But then he's also such a woman's man in the way that he's like, I'd be nothing without Michelle. And is so vocal about that. There's nothing more attractive than a man telling the fucking truth, which is that they're just
nothing without their women.
They're literally just Ken. Like, I love it when men admit that openly, publicly, proudly. It's like own that. Be thankful. My God, it's the least you can do. We digress. Literally. But yeah, he's such a. Oh, I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
And I almost want to say that I feel like fire signs are incredible role models just because they're authentic to themselves.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I feel like Brock, in the way that you were saying this, Heather, like we don't see him like lose it. We did watch him in a role that was very public and always knew. I want to say one of the coolest things that he ever like quote unquote lost it at was actually when the Kanye Taylor microphone heard round the world VMA shenanigans, iconic, whatever you want to call it. There's like a clip of Obama getting ready for an interview and they're like recapping it. It was like all over the news, if you remember at the time. It was like headline news. And he's like watching it in the interview. I forget what news station is like recording already before they've like officially started. And he's looking at the screen and he's just kind of like, man, he's a jackass, like talking about Kanye. And then he was kind of like, oh shit, I'm on the air, or like he realized like, no, I'm being recorded. But that, quite honestly, I remember being like, oh, I love him.
Yeah,
like love him.
Totally. That is so Leo.
Human.
So like, yeah, someone you'd want to have a drink with and like give me your other thoughts. Like,
yeah, like Ragavan was like, he's a jackass. And I think Kanye has been on his like list since, and then now has obviously been removed. But this was when he wasn't anti-Semitic just yet publicly. So he was still, I think he did make it on Barack's list after that, I want to say. But and they made like peace or whatever. Maybe not. But anyways, yeah, I just remember being like, that was so fucking cool. And he wasn't even like being, it was just such an authentic like reaction of like, like what a bummer that guy did that, or like, you know. And you just remember, I remember him, he sounded like such a dad. Like it was almost like he was like, she's a 17-year-old girl or 19-year, you know, like I just felt like he was kind of like more looking at Kanye as like not so much of the action he was doing, but more it was like it read off. And I'm imagining more to Barack Obama, he's more like, you're a grown man. Like that's not how men level,
this isn't
how men carry themselves, and like in a respectable manner, which like Barack just is. And it's like he doesn't have to lose it or fly off the handle. There was so much power in that, and him just keeping it real. And I think that's where like a lot of his like stoic like patience and like calmness really carries, is like that is the fire, the way he's able to like be so relaxed and this like it's almost like there's a confidence to fire.
There is. Yeah. And I think what you said before about being role models, like fire is also inspiration. It's like spark. And I think
for themselves.
Yeah.
The rest of us.
No, yeah. But no, totally. I think that because fire just lights up and it doesn't overthink and it's very authentic, it's an inspiring energy, and flames literally are like inspiration. It's the sparks.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah. And this chart also, just in the romantic stuff we've been talking about, I'm noticing so many romantic things, like Venus in Cancer, which is so sweet and soft, especially for a man to have that in the 5th house of Leo's house, in trine to Neptune, which is like dreamy Pisces energy, is also so nice. And this chart also has like so many nice flowing aspects, like all these blue line trines, and then you know some challenges too, but a good equal amount, which probably allows him to have, they say that like the most successful people on earth need, you know, healthy tension in their charts, because otherwise you're just kind of lazy and you're fine and content with how life is. So he has a lot of aspects that are flowing and nice and easy, but a lot that is also contradictory energies that help him to reach the success he has reached.
I love that. That's
Come
amazing.
on the pod, Barack.
Barack Obama, put our podcast in your top. Does he have a podcast list? No, it's always music,
and we
right?
should be on.
Yeah, I'd listen to his podcast, Rex, and I think I bet he's into astrology.
Oh, with Aquarius and Leo, how could he not? Honestly, yeah, and Gemini, all three of those signs tend to be into it.
God, I love the Obamas. They were my phone wallpaper in 2016 for like 4 years after that too. Completely random.
Oh my
completely
God.
Just a random coincidence.
So
gorgeous.
A random coincidence.
Oh.
All right, we have to
move on. Yes. Speaking of presidents, as we just covered, Heather, this next chart is one of our president. Yeah, she's our president forever and always. Charli XCX. We've been dying to do her. She's literally I want to let all the listeners know and everyone in the world through this podcast know that Heather Cunningham is the reason I embraced, fell in love, am now currently obsessed, and one of Charli XCX's biggest fans. Like, Heather Cunningham turned me on to hyperpop. Heather Cunningham turned me on to A.G. Cook and PC.
I'm here to get everyone obsessed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so fucking good. It's open my mind, my heart, my horizons. Like, I love this bitch. I love Charli XCX still to this day, Heather. One of my favorite concert experiences of all time was seeing Charli XCX in Los Angeles with you. And just, the madness. Like, it was so.
We had a Leo
night. I remember even saying that the next day. Like, it was exactly how Charli would have wanted. Yeah, just like fully our authentic. Yeah. Fully our authentic selves.
Truly.
Just a couple of drunk girls taking care of each other, but Charli XCX would have had it no other way. It was an incredible time. I love her. She's a Leo sun, Virgo moon, Cancer rising. And that, like, again, I'm a big fan of Charli's music. I know you are too, Heather, because you taught me everything I fucking know. But that to me checks. Like, all of that
totally
really checks. I maybe would have swapped the moon and rising, but no, like, when you really listen to Charli's like music and like how she carries herself, it makes all the sense in the world. But
I know she's such a mess in so many ways. Like, I unfortunately have never gotten to see this, but a lot of my friends who have been to some of her more like intimate house shows, like back in the day, have like witnessed her performing, and then her friends like A.G. Cook and those people like carrying her like to her car afterward because she was like so fucked up. Like, she's so like messy in that way, and definitely like preaches, like live young and free, and like, I love to party. But then also I think her music has so much attention to detail, and she is like so calculated as an artist while being messy, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think like she
knows how to make
seriously.
her messy work for her branding and to like propel her career. Not to say that she isn't authentically but
so authentic.
It's not like
She's
something that works against her. It's something that works for her.
Yeah. And A.G. Cook and Sophie are both Virgos, and a lot of the people she works with are Virgos, which is interesting.
The Virgo moon checks out. She does have like, and again, it's so funny because she has such this messaging of like party, live free. I want to party.
I don't really have hobbies. I like to party.
Why is that one so hard to say? But she is such a worker bee. She like,
oh my God, yeah, she talks about
COVID
that.
hit. Like, or she's such a I don't know if she's like she's a workaholic, but she's definitely motivated. Her Virgo moon mixed with her Leo sun, like, that's so action heavy. But
Yeah.
like the second COVID hit, you know, she was talking about her mental health, being alone and like with nothing to do at home, and how she had to really work through that. And like she's very vocal about her mental health and how she wasn't doing well in COVID, and then released one of my favorite albums of all time, How I'm Feeling Now. So she still had to like make art about how she was feeling, and she like describes in her songs her pent up energy, and like she's just so action based and movement based that I can only imagine now, especially looking at her chart, what COVID was like for her. And it's like, yeah, she had to make that album. And then like in her Cancer rising way, she's also like, yeah, she's talking about mental health. She's like, there's a song where it sounds like she's like literally crying on it. And it was a love album. It was a whole album like dedicated to her long-term on and off again boyfriend at the time. Like, no, she's Cancer rising as fuck.
Yeah. I think the Cancer in Leo brings so much passion and raw emotion.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the people in her universe, like Kim Petras and A.G. Cook, a lot of the PC music people, they like their music is brilliant and so fun, but I don't, and Caroline Polachek too, like brilliant, so fun, but I don't think it captures the same emotional rawness that Charli's
like raw
music
emotion,
and lyrics have. You like feel the emotion.
Yeah. She's really, and that's one of my favorite things, because I feel like so many people are, there's this idea that because it's pop music, the lyrics can't be emotional or heavy or have any like meaning. And that used to piss me the fuck off when people would say that about Mama Aries, Gaga. Like Lady Gaga is so passionate about what she does, and like, you know how hard it is to write a pop song? I actually don't know. I've never attempted it. But like, I just feel like people don't, it's like, yeah, it's one thing to like write your diary out. It's another thing to make a mainstream catchy hit that's a good song. It's another thing to create hyper pop with meaningful lyrics that'll never be quite on mainstream, but she can also crank those out too. Like, I feel like people, like her work ethic is truly like, she kind of is like the hyper pop Taylor Swift in a little way. Like, she's constantly, she can bang out the radio hits, but then all of her, you know, shit can be a lot deeper and emotional. And I just feel like there's such a wrong idea that pop music can't be heavier or surface level. And to me, like, the Charli XCX AG Cook world is, and that's what makes it so special and good. And it's an acquired taste for sure. I think a lot of people are like, what? And it's so hard. It's literally emo, but
yeah, no, it is.
I can't explain it.
No, totally. And
if you know, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. I will defend pop music to the ground. I think
I just also love pop music, even if it's not
respect
heavy.
Of everything else.
I can also just get behind a fun little party song too. Like, I just will never apologize for liking pop.
No.
And then, you know, I'll put my Casey on, I'll put my Phoebe on, I'll put on my heavier emo girl shit.
Totally.
But it's okay to like pop music.
Oh my God, it's more than okay. But also I think that Charli has had such a Leo trajectory of this. I know she's had this inner battle of like, I want to be a pop star. My icon is Britney Spears. Like, that is the celebrity I like most identify with, who was, you know, the biggest mainstream pop sensation ever. But then to have this battle of like, but I need to do it my own way, or like, I need to shine through what makes me unique. I need to be like different. I need to be like authentic to who I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because so much of Britney wasn't authentic, we learned.
Exactly.
Like, you learn later that so much of it, like, she didn't get her own say and it wasn't authentic to her and her voice. And like Charli, I don't think Britney even wrote
most of her songs. Her best song,
credited, right?
Which is Every time,
which
is
about
one
Justin.
of the only ones that she wrote herself, which I think is the prettiest song she has.
It's so good. It's so good. And I saw her live.
It feels so real.
Isn't that crazy? I was like in 4th grade, so I can't remember it. I just remember my mom closing my eyes for most of it.
It was my first concert for the self-titled album.
So fun. But like, Charli is that, but and more, because she gets more of a say. She gets to be authentically more herself,
And that's always been priority one, is like, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
weird. I'm like, I made this, I made fancy, I like it, I made
Like
these
I've
huge
proven
boob
that I can go
clap,
pop on the radio.
but like
Yeah.
I need to explore
Yep.
this other thing, and I understand that means I'm not going to be a Miley Cyrus, and
that's really okay.
it is.
It's even better, honestly, what she's like created and what
I
she's
think
done.
so. I think
I
so.
think it's so
I think
much
she's going to go
bigger.
down in history. And
Oh, absolutely. She
she
already
loves
has.
to say, like, I'm the future of pop. And it's true. I think she kind of did create hyper pop along with it. Like, she
Yeah,
created a whole, through being herself, through being authentic, she created a whole new genre.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Would you say Charli is like the first to do it? I know you're a little more aware of hyper or more into the hyper pop knowledge than
It's
I am,
like
Heather.
I feel like it's an amalgamation of like what AG Cook and PC Music were doing,
Yeah.
plus Sophie in her own terms as a producer. And then when all three came together, like Charli started this like songwriting camp where she invited Sophie and AG and all these different people to like a studio in like the Netherlands or something. I don't remember exactly where. And Huck was there.
Such a
And she like
collaborator.
invited them all one summer and they made the Vroom Vroom EP. And I feel like I don't know. You could say I think hyperpop really like became its term after like the aftermath of Charli and uh Pop 2 and you know with 100 Gex, and it's been like a slow build toward this like new genre. But I think she like took PC music and made that more of an accessible thing, and then as a byproduct I think like hyperpop was born as a term.
I love her. I think she's incredible.
So
And yeah, she's
amazing.
proven that she's like, I can fucking put out fancy. I get my little ass on the radio, but it's like, my favorite hits of hers would never probably be on the radio.
Oh yeah, no. She has that Virgo
They're too
business mind and
sophisticated.
then the
Yeah.
Leo like, but
Yeah.
I'm authentic.
Yeah.
Honeys.
Yeah. And then is there anything else that you want to like flag about her chart, Heather? I mean, I know we've talked a lot about like the way she like carries herself, that unapologetic like messiness, and then but also like isn't gonna be afraid to speak out on gay rights. Remember that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm
Gay
just
rights.
now gay rights. I'll sign your poppers. Right. I love her. Yeah, well, so I'm noticing that one of her only oppositions, like there's a lot of like the chart's very clumped and there's a lot of like easy aspects actually. And I do think that her career, from what I understand, like she sort of like got signed with Columbia Records very young and like took off from there and like had her first
She's not
hit
a
very
nepo
early
baby.
in her career. She's not a nepo baby. Her mom is Indian. Did you know she's half Indian, half British? Her mom
No.
is Indian and I think was always a little bit more cautious about her
On like the
entering this
conservative
career.
side. Yeah.
And her dad is I forget what he did, but she's not a nepo baby, but he was always like, yeah, wear the crazy clothes, go to the club, like be
Gotcha.
weirder, like inspiring that part of her.
So
And yeah, I think she was like making bedroom tracks and putting it on MySpace and it took off, and she has kind of had an easy time. So in that way the chart makes sense because there are a lot of nice flowing aspects. But there's Saturn in the 9th in Aquarius. You know, Saturn is notoriously a difficult planet. It represents restriction and maturity, needing to mature. So she has that in Aquarius, which is very weird and individualistic, in opposition to her Sun and Mercury and a lot of her personal planets in Leo in the 3rd. So there's something about like her life philosophy being very like individualistic and needing to like do things your own way, and like being weird is like more important than being, you know, one with the crowd. But that there's a restriction there as well, that's felt in her ability to like shine with the sun. So that's really interesting. I see that a lot with like, yeah, what we were talking about her being very much a niche pop star, embracing
like just kind of in her own lane.
Mm-hmm.
But with all these fun like modern adaptations, so to speak. She's such a collaborator. Like
such
she
a
really loves
collaborator.
collaborating.
Yeah, and she has some seventh house action, which is all about partnerships and one-to-one. And I just need to add that I think like Miley Cyrus has said about Charli XCX, like I watched like an interview between them, and Miley was like, Charli, you're so refreshing because like you're the only artist I know who wears as little clothing as I do. And like I think that is just so
she has a banging body.
Oh my god, her body's unreal.
Like she literally has a Britney Spears body in the way that like she just has like abs.
Yeah, what's the line in the remix when she's like I don't know, she loves to talk about her natural tits. Even in I got it. She's like no silicone. Well, that's a Brooke Candy lyric, but she just loves to be like, my tits are natural. And her lips in the remix we were talking about. She's like my face enhanced my natural lips.
That's right. You're right.
Like so Leo, line. She's so like cheeky about how she's like, yeah, I'm a hot girl, like and I'm gonna wear nothing and shake my ass, but it doesn't come off as like annoying to me at least. I'm like,
yeah, there's also there's this hilarious clip while she's in this hot, sexy outfit and she's in the middle of like a song, throwing her ass around, dancing on stage, and then like it's like in between songs, she's like reaching around, she's like, oh, my tampon is out, and like she can laugh at, like she's so like fire signs, Leos in general have like, I just feel like this ability to be really goofy and can laugh at themselves, move along, and then also like keep it funny while keeping it hot. Like,
yeah, and in a way I think that
like
makes them hotter and more confident. Phoebe Bridgers, who's also a Leo, does the same thing on, so I feel like they have very similar social media personas where they both like will like post pictures of their like bare ass, but then also like them making an ugly face with no makeup. Like I don't know, they're just very human.
Yeah.
But Phoebe hot and
also has such a hot body.
yeah. They're both so hot, they're so too. Leo.
You said I looked like Phoebe Bridgers once, Heather. You were being crazy.
No,
but it won't leave my mind because every time I see her, I'm like, she's so hot. And then I'm like, Heather kind of thought I was giving Phoebe once in a picture, weirdly.
No, I like do think you guys have similar facial features. Yes, absolutely.
No, you're being crazy, and I'm on the Aries cusp, so I'm being crazy. But yeah, no, I love Charli XCX. I love that this is her season. Is there anything else, Heather, that you wanted to talk about? I know we could do a whole episode on this bitch, but
I could go on and on and on. But Charli, if you ever listen to this, just know that you inspire me on a daily basis. My favorite pop star, but also one of my all-time artistic inspirations that keeps me going and wanting to be my own authentic, free bitch.
Yes, please, Heather. And she's, Leo sun too, Leo rising. Like, come on. And Aquarius. No, I'm sorry. She's
well, but the Saturn in Aquarius, there is like an Aquarius feel. Yeah.
Gotcha.
She
gives
like, I'm the future.
If she wasn't giving fire, she'd be giving the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested. You said like in partnerships and like teamwork setting in her like career and professional setting. Does her charts give anything away about her like romance? Like or like, is there anything in the chart, I guess, more about like her new romance?
Is there anything interesting?
Like we don't have to get into it. I know
that I'd have to think about that more, but I will say that I know that she talks a lot about sabotaging relationships and like in the past, like, wanting closeness but at the same time being an independent bitch, and like when things get too
heavier, intimate
she backs off. And Neptune and Uranus are in the 7th, and if you have Uranus in the 7th, that is very much like Uranus is the planet of independence and freedom, and the 7th house is what you look at. It's like it's Libra's house of relationships and partnerships, and if you have planets there, it really colors how you approach relationships, especially romance. So having Uranus there is very like I just like there's something in me that like always needs to be independent even when I'm close to people. But Neptune, which is also there, is the opposite. That's Pisces. That's like I can idealize and I just want to like blend into you until there's no boundaries at all. So having both of that, I know a lot of other people who have that, and it's an interesting contradiction. I feel like you can hear it in a lot of her song lyrics. Like, I just want you. There's this unreleased song called Gravity that is so fucking good that you should look
Bounce.
up. I love Bounce, but no, Gravity. And it's all about this. It's like, gravity, I want you so close to me. But then it's like, I feel you all over me. Get off of me. It's like,
oh my God. That's so funny. Well, and I know this bitch pays attention to astrology.
Probably.
Like her spirituality in general. Yeah. And she has a song with her ex-boyfriend, Huck, who I want to say is maybe a Gemini just because she talks about it in the song, like Gemini switching sides. Yes, that's so nice. But then isn't her current boyfriend George?
Aries.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's something about fire is one of those elements. It's not like it can't be with other signs. Don't get me wrong. But I do think there's something about a fire and fire relationship. It either is going to crash and burn or it's going to be forever. You know, like it's one of the two. It's either going to be messy as fuck. It's like the passion's so extra loaded.
And I think they can keep up with each other. I think she needs someone who can really keep up with her in that way. I mean, she says her hobby is partying. Like you need another fire sign, you know?
Who's like, yeah, no, I hear
I'm obsessed with their, oh my God, their Instagrams
so
when they're like together partying and he's like grabbing her tits and they're drinking wine, like dancing in the limo. I'm like, this is what I want.
I just want to watch. What? Anyway, yes, Charli, bring George, come on the pod. Barack, get the girls. Michelle and the girls come on the pod. Oh, I love it. I love Leo's season. Lovely, lovely Leos today, Heather. Lovely. I loved those. What's going on? What can what can I expect? Heather, help us. What is on the horizons for the flames?
Yes. So, as I was saying before, the full moon in Aquarius on August 1st. What a lovely way to start August with a full moon and a nice, light, friendly, creative energy. They're saying that, you know, Aquarius is all about doing something in an unorthodox way, looking at your life in terms of the big picture and thinking, how can I do things differently? Maybe you'll have like a weird idea that seems very out there, but then also maybe you can ground it, especially because this full moon in Aquarius will be squaring Jupiter and Taurus, which gives it an even more expansive, dreamy quality, but also an ability to ground whatever ideas you have. And this could be creative inspiration. This could be like, I have a new idea about what I want to do for my future, what I want to do in terms of like friendships and purpose and all those Aquarian things. So that's really cool. That's on August 1st. And then in early August, there's a lot of activity. So then Mars, which has been in Virgo for a little bit, which I do feel a little semblance of Virgo energy lately, where I am like, I don't know, cleaning with extra detail and just feeling more motivated to like work on those very detail oriented things that I normally don't want to focus on. So Mars in Virgo is going to form a trine to Jupiter and Taurus. Again, we love Jupiter. Jupiter's expansive. It's lucky. So this could help give you an extra boost of like, okay, I want to finish these tasks. I want to put my nose to the grindstone, enjoy the work, enjoy paying attention to the details. This is also good for like focusing on your health and being very disciplined with the body, mind, spirit connection. And then on August 3rd, Pluto, which is retrograding, will square the moon's node in Aries. The nodes just change signs from Taurus and Scorpio to Aries and Libra, which we talked about, I think, in the last two podcasts. And so now this is the first time that Pluto, which has been retrograding, is going to square the node in this new sign. And Pluto is transformation. Squares are a doozy. So on August 3rd, this might affect us more globally than it does on a personal level. It depends on where you have your own signs and planets.
Right.
But a lot of astrologers are saying that in early August, we might experience some global like secrets being uncovered, or like things with things with power, shifts in power, or like things being revealed about power dynamics. And I think that that's going to be a theme going through the end of the year into next year also, because we're at that precipice of Pluto moving into Aquarius and the age of Aquarius beginning very soon.
Wow, that's huge, Heather.
So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. As I'm getting further down a rabbit hole with these alien TikTok videos. I'm like,
love the aliens. I know.
It's coming.
I love this shit. I'm like, uncover the secrets.
Yeah. I constantly send Alex TikToks and I'm like, watch this one. And she's like, I've just accepted that like you do no fact checking, no resource looking. And I'm like,
fun.
Yeah, that's why I'm sending it to you so you can do it. No, what a fabulous time. I'm so excited for this loaded movement, this fiery ass time. It's just changes in the air and I'm ready for it. I'm energized for it. I'm revved up.
I am too. It's feeling good.
Let's get this bread, fam. Let's get this infinite abundance. Let's get this fire season. I love you, Heather.
I love you so much. This is so fun.
This was a fun one. Yeah, folks. And we'll have ourselves another fun one right next week. Okay. We'll see you then. Enjoy the flames until then. And remember your sunscreen, bitch.
Yes.
Remember your sunblock. Sure. But get out there. But don't get out in the sun. Okay. Just wear the block. All right. Love you. Infinite abundance.
Infinite abundance.
Bye.